Hey everyone, and welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. If you're here, you're probably interested in learning more about Cerence.
CRNC.
Exactly, ticker symbol CRNC.
Yeah.
And this company, all about AI for vehicles, has been making some serious headlines lately.
Absolutely.
Some really dramatic stock movements too. So we figured it was time to break it all down.
Yeah, definitely.
What's been going on and what it all means for investors out there.
For sure.
So should we just jump right in?
Let's do it.
All right, so they've been making waves, as we said. Just take their partnership with NVIDIA,
Oh, yeah.
announced January 3rd, 2025.
Big news that day.
The stock soared over 65%.
Yeah, in a single day.
65% in one day.
That's huge.
It's got to turn some heads, right?
It definitely got investors' attention.
But what is it about this partnership that has everybody so excited?
Well, I mean, NVIDIA, as you know, is a powerhouse in the AI space, right?
Okay.
So this partnership is really about them teaming up to, push the boundaries even further when it comes to AI in vehicles.
So it's not just a little improvement here and there.
No.
They're really thinking big picture.
It's about reimagining the entire driving experience.
Okay, so what does that actually look like?
So think next-level voice assistants that actually understand you.
Good.
Personalized features that learn your habits as a driver, and even features that we haven't thought of yet.
So they're really kind of positioning themselves as leaders in this whole automotive AI space.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why investors are getting so excited. I mean, that kind of potential is hard to ignore.
Absolutely. But it's not just the NVIDIA partnership, right?
Right.
They also have this deal with Jaguar Land Rover.
Yeah, the Jaguar Land Rover agreement, that's another big one.
Multi-year deal, so it sounds pretty serious.
It is. And, Jaguar Land Rover is known for their luxury vehicles.
Packed with tech.
Exactly. So for them to choose Cerence as their AI partner, it says a lot.
It really does.
Yeah.
A big vote of confidence from a pretty major player.
For sure. And all of this is definitely contributing to that positive sentiment that we're seeing around Cerence.
Okay, so these partnerships are definitely making headlines. But what about their financial performance?
Yeah. Are they backing up these exciting developments with solid numbers?
Are they actually, making money?
Well, they have been making some strategic moves on the financial front, too.
Like what?
Well, recently they announced a plan to repurchase $27 million of their convertible notes.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't financial experts, could you break that down a little bit?
Sure. So convertible notes are basically a type of debt that can be converted into shares of the company's stock.
Okay.
So by buying back these notes, Cerence is essentially reducing their debt.
Okay.
And that's a good sign for investors because it shows they're focused on creating shareholder value.
It's like cleaning up their balance sheet a little bit.
Yeah.
Showing they're serious about financial stability.
Right.
So less debt, potentially more value for shareholders.
Exactly.
Seems like a smart move.
It does.
But how about their actual earnings?
Yeah. Are they actually profitable?
Right.
Well, their recent Q4 earnings report actually exceeded revenue expectations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they pulled in $54.8 million.
Okay.
And looking ahead, they're projecting revenue between $236 million and $247 million for 2025.
Wow. So they're feeling pretty optimistic.
They are. They even anticipate becoming profitable with an adjusted EBITDA between $15 million and $26 million.
Okay, so EBITDA, for those of us who don't know.
It's essentially a measure of operating profitability.
Okay, so they're saying they're not just going to bring in revenue, but they're actually going to be making money.
That's the projection.
That's huge.
It is.
Okay, so those are some pretty optimistic projections. But the stock market can be unpredictable, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So where does Cerence's stock actually stand right now after all this buzz?
Yeah, so as of January 3rd, 2025, the stock closed at $19.39.
Okay.
But it's been a wild ride lately. It's fluctuated between $10.39 and $19.89.
So it's been all over the place.
It has. That kind of volatility can definitely be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I bet. So what's driving these big swings up and down?
Well, those big announcements we talked about definitely play a major role.
Of course.
I mean, when you have news like the NVIDIA partnership, it creates a surge of investor interest, and that leads to higher trading volume.
Right. Everybody wants a piece of the action.
Exactly. And we're talking an average of 3.3 million shares traded daily, with even bigger spikes around those key events.
Okay, so high volume means lots of people are buying and selling.
Right.
But what does that tell us about the overall trend of the stock?
Well, to really understand, we need to look at some technical indicators.
All right, let's get technical then.
Let's do it.
What can these indicators tell us about where Cerence might be headed?
Well, one indicator that's commonly used is the simple moving average, or SMA.
Okay.
It basically helps smooth out those price fluctuations over a specific period of time.
So it gives you a better sense of the overall trend.
Exactly. And right now, Cerence's stock is trading significantly above both its 50-day and 200-day SMAs.
Okay, and what are those sitting at?
So the 50-day is at $5.63, and the 200-day is at $5.43.
So it's way above both of those.
Yeah, it is.
So that means it's going up like it's on a roll.
It's a pretty strong indication of a bullish trend, yeah.
Okay.
It suggests that the stock has been gaining some serious momentum.
Okay, so things are looking good,
Yeah.
but there's always another side to the story.
Always. We need to look at other indicators, too, to get the full picture.
Makes sense.
Mm.
So what else should we be paying attention to?
Well, another key indicator is the Relative Strength Index, or RSI.
RSI.
Yeah. And this one measures how much the price has been changing recently, to figure out if a stock is overbought or oversold.
Overbought or oversold.
Right. And Cerence currently has an RSI of about 57.23,
Okay.
which puts it kind of in neutral territory, but leaning towards being overbought.
Okay. Overbought, does that sound like a bad thing?
It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely something to be aware of.
Okay.
It could mean that the price has risen too quickly and might be due for a correction.
So it's like a little warning sign.
Yeah, potential yellow flag.
Proceed with caution.
Exactly.
So these technical indicators are giving us some mixed signals here.
Yeah.
On one hand, we've got all this upward momentum, but
Yeah.
then there's this little warning about it potentially being overbought.
Right.
So it sounds like Cerence is a company with a lot of potential, but also some risks involved.
Exactly. That's the nature of the game, right? High potential often comes with higher risk.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess to really understand those risks and rewards, we need to look beyond just the numbers
Absolutely.
and dive into their overall strategy.
Right. And one of the key things to understand about Cerence is their focus on generative AI.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about generative AI earlier, but can you really paint me a picture here?
Yeah.
Like, what does a generative AI-powered car actually look like?
Okay, so imagine this. You step into your car, and it just gets you.
Oh, wow.
Like, it knows your habits, your favorite routes, your taste in music, even your mood.
No way.
Yeah, and it can anticipate what you need before you even have to ask.
Okay.
Like, maybe it suggests grabbing a coffee on your way to work,
Okay.
or it adjusts the temperature just the way you like it,
Wow.
or even plays music that matches your mood.
That sounds amazing.
It's about creating this, like, hyper-personalized and intuitive experience with your car.
So it's not just driving anymore. It's like having a personal assistant who also happens to be your car.
That's the idea.
Okay, that sounds awesome. But how does this actually translate into revenue for Cerence?
Right. How do they actually make money from this?
Yeah.
Well, they're basically positioning themselves as the brains behind these intelligent vehicles.
So they're not just selling software anymore.
No, they're offering these high-value solutions to car manufacturers who are eager to include these cutting-edge features.
So they're becoming like a platform?
Yeah, like an essential part of the car's ecosystem.
And that's a pretty smart move considering how many cars are becoming connected and AI-powered.
Absolutely. It's a market with huge potential.
But I imagine there are also challenges that come with being at the forefront of a new technology like this.
Oh, for sure. It's not all smooth sailing.
What kind of hurdles are we talking about?
Well, for one thing, there's always competition.
Oh, of course.
Other companies are also trying to make their mark in the automotive AI space.
So they're not alone in this.
Definitely not. The race is on to dominate this market.
So they've got to stay ahead of the curve, keep innovating.
Exactly.
What else?
Another challenge is managing costs effectively.
Now that's interesting because they're projecting growth, right?
They are.
So why would they need to cut costs?
It's about being smart and adaptable. The automotive industry is changing so rapidly.
Yeah.
And while the long-term prospects for automotive AI are promising, there's a lot of uncertainty in the short term.
Makes sense.
So by streamlining their operations and finding ways to be more efficient, they're creating a financial buffer.
Okay, so it's like a safety net in case things get bumpy.
Exactly. It allows them to navigate potential turbulence and be ready to jump on new opportunities.
So cost cutting is actually a strategic move in this case.
It can be, yeah. It's about staying lean and mean in a volatile market.
Okay, so it's all about being prepared for anything.
Right.
But what about the people who are watching all this unfold?
The investors and analysts?
Yeah. What's the overall sentiment towards Cerence?
Well, like with any company, there are bulls and bears.
People who are optimistic and people who are a little more cautious.
Exactly.
So what are the bulls saying?
Well, they're impressed with Cerence's innovative tech, their strong partnerships like the ones we talked about, and the overall growth potential of the automotive AI sector.
Okay, so they see Cerence as a potential winner in a market that's just getting started.
Yeah, they're betting on Cerence to be a major player.
Okay, that's the buy side of the story. What about the skeptics? What are they worried about?
Well, some analysts are a bit concerned about Cerence's debt levels.
Okay.
They point out that it could make them vulnerable, especially if there's an economic downturn or if the market gets rocky.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Debt can be a burden in times of uncertainty.
exactly. They also acknowledge that there's inherent risk in betting on an industry that's evolving so quickly.
Like automotive AI.
Right. There's no guarantee that the bets Cerence is making right now will pay off in the long run.
And the competition could change drastically too.
Absolutely. It's a dynamic landscape.
Okay, so high potential reward, high risk.
It's a classic trade-off.
Yeah, and I imagine those different perspectives are reflected in what analysts are predicting for the stock price.
Oh, absolutely.
So what's the range we're looking at?
Well, right now, analyst price targets for Cerence range from $5 to $10.
Wow, that's a pretty big difference.
It is, and it shows just how much uncertainty there is surrounding the company's future.
Right. Some analysts think the stock is way undervalued, while others think it's overvalued and due for a drop.
It's a wide range of opinions.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
We've talked about their partnerships, their financials, their AI strategy, the market sentiment, even the technical analysis.
Yeah, it's been a pretty comprehensive look.
It has. It's a lot to consider. So what does it all mean for someone like me or our listeners who are trying to decide if Cerence is a good investment?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
And I wish there was an easy answer, but investing rarely is that simple.
Especially in the tech world.
Exactly. There are always a lot of moving parts.
So no clear buy or sell signal here?
Not really. It's more nuanced than that.
Okay, so Cerence is making some bold moves. They're clearly at the forefront of something exciting with this generative AI in cars. But they're also operating in a market that's pretty unpredictable, and they've got some financial vulnerabilities to think about.
Right. It's a balance of potential and risk.
So how do our listeners decide if this is the right investment for them?
Well, I think the first thing to consider is their own risk tolerance.
Yeah, how comfortable are they with the possibility of losing money?
Exactly. Because Cerence is a growth stock, which means it has high potential, but it also comes with a lot of volatility.
Those ups and downs can be pretty intense.
They can. So investors need to ask themselves, are they prepared to ride those waves?
Okay, so know your risk tolerance. That's number one. What else should they be thinking about?
Their investment timeline is important too.
Okay, so how long are they planning to hold the stock?
Right. Are they looking for a quick return, or are they willing to hold on for the long haul?
And a long-term investor might be more willing to weather those ups and downs if they truly believe in the company's vision.
Absolutely. They're playing the long game. I think it's important to look beyond the hype and the stock movements and really understand Cerence's business model.
Okay, so do your research.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dig into their financials, understand their technology, and take a close look at their competition.
So it's about making an informed decision.
It is. At the end of the day, the decision to invest in Cerence is a personal one.
Absolutely. There's no right or wrong answer.
Right. But by carefully weighing those potential rewards against the risks and really understanding the company's direction.
Investors can make a choice that aligns with their goals and their risk tolerance.
Exactly. It's about finding investments that fit your individual needs.
So it's not just about chasing the next hot stock. It's about making smart decisions based on your own circumstances and your understanding of the market.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, it's been quite a journey exploring Cerence.
CRNC?
CRNC. From those game-changing partnerships to that really ambitious vision for AI in vehicles.
It really is a fascinating company.
It is. But now I want to kind of bring it back to you, our listeners.
The Heart of Investing Talk podcast.
Exactly. So given everything we've discussed about Cerence today,
Yeah.
their ambitions, their potential risks, their position in this rapidly changing market.
That's a lot to unpack.
It is.
Yeah.
The question is this a stock you would consider?
For your own portfolio?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to give you a simple yes or no.
Figured.
Because as we've seen, it's not that simple.
Right.
But what I will say is Cerence is a company that's really pushing the boundaries. They're not afraid to take risks and bet big on the future of AI.
It's exciting.
It is, but that also means there's a certain level of uncertainty.
Of course, there's no guarantees.
Exactly.
It's like you're saying, hop in, it's could be a wild ride.
Yeah, but we can't promise it'll be smooth sailing.
Right, but that's kind of what makes it so interesting, right?
Absolutely.
We're watching this technological revolution unfold in real time.
And Cerence is right there leading the charge.
So for our listeners who are intrigued by Cerence and thinking about maybe taking the plunge,
Yeah, what advice would you give them?
what's the one thing you would tell them?
I would say don't just follow the hype.
Right.
Don't just take our word for it.
Do your own research.
Exactly. Dig into those financials. Really try to understand the technology.
And look at the competition, too.
Yes, because the landscape can change so quickly.
And most importantly, make sure any investment you make aligns with your own risk tolerance.
And your long-term goals.
Wise words, because ultimately it's your money.
You're in the driver's seat.
You're in the driver's seat of your investment journey. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive on Cerence, don't forget to subscribe to Investing Talk Podcast,
so you don't miss out on future episodes.
where we'll be breaking down other exciting investment opportunities. And while you're at it, be sure to share this episode with your fellow investors.
And leave a comment letting us know your thoughts on Cerence.
We love hearing from you. Until next time, happy investing.